But I'd like to tell you a little while about an exciting business opportunity that I discovered here on the site in just a little while. So you got to hang on for that even if you don't like the music. I know there's not much so now. What is it with Japuza? Japuza is a miraculous group of people. They're great folks. They can do everything. But where are the cell phone towers, folks?
Exactly.
Woo! In the early days of bluegrass music, they were looking for a term to throw the umbrella on it, because that's what journalists do. You have to have a term to describe new music. Bluegrass is sort of the place where country goes over the edge. It has different influences sometimes. And to kind of get a grip on it, Jake, our old bass player, Vigilantes, was explaining it to me. It's like bluegrass music is to country sort of what punk is to old rock and roll. It's just fueled by a different sort of energy. And that's a good term for it, high and lonesome, and supposedly it was because of its dependency, ladies and gentlemen, on instruments that didn't have frets. Now these metal things that are embedded in a fretboard, these are called frets, but in a lot of bluegrass music you have a dependency on things like dobros or pedal steels like young William was playing. And you can slide up on a note, or you can slide down on a note. And it supposedly evokes in the human spirit a feeling of melancholia, or earnest longing, things like that. So it goes anyway, so high and lonesome, right? I've worked with a lot of bluegrass musicians in my day, and that's a pretty appropriate term, but for most of them it describes their blood chemistry, which is usually too much alcohol and not enough serotonin. I felt I needed to say all of this because this next song is called High and Lonesome, but doesn't have a single drug reference in it. I say that for the 25,000 people that heard me at Main Stage a few years ago and thought that I was endorsing something I would never in a million years endorse. Well, it's not trivial because people misconstrue things here. And my wife is forever telling me that the voice that I speak in, my natural voice, does not sound sincere. That's what she says. Anyway, I've been doing a lot of gigs, and I rent from Enterprise, usually down in Athens. And I'm down there a couple of months ago. I'm getting ready to go to Texas. Anybody from Longview? Anybody at that memorable gig in Longview, the Christian Singles Club? I got banished this year. But I never sold many records in Longview, Texas anyway, but let me tell you, we won't go into the details of that. Lots of parcheesi. So I'm going into Enterprise and I say, hey man, I need a car and I gotta go to Texas. And he said, oh man, Texas. Wow, I miss Stevie Ray Vaughan. I said, yeah, Stevie Ray, all the good die young, phenomenal guitar player, insanely great, gifted young man, cocaine abuse and you know, beat it. And I said, do you know how Stevie Ray died? And I asked the sales clerk to this, a guy named Christian, and he says, no, why don't you tell me? I said, well, Eric Clapton, I played Crossroads with a band called Cream, Eric Clapton. Eric surrendered a seat up on a helicopter so that Stevie Ray could make it back from a festival and go play another show that night. So Eric gives up the seat and the chopper goes down with Stevie on it and we lose him. And this guy on the other side, just to give you the picture, I'm sitting here waiting for my keys. I'm about an hour behind, because I'm always an hour behind. And there's the desk, and there's Christian with the keys, and he looks down at his feet, and he goes, man, why couldn't that have been Michael Jackson? Honest to goodness, that's what he said. And I was kind of shocked, but it is funny, and it's okay, it's kind of funny. Because he's made himself a bit of a freak, and you know, he deserves to be. You know, when people do stuff like this, you just bear the consequences, right? And then I spent the next week in the truck, in the car, trying to figure out why that joke was so funny, why it was like, and here's what I came up with. Young Christian, theologically speaking, here's where the whole system kind of worked, right? Theologically speaking, he had this idea that when somebody goes and somebody stays, somebody checks out and somebody stays, he had the idea that somehow God had made a mistake that day. And that's why that joke is funny, because we know God doesn't make mistakes. And we're Exhibit A. Nobody got dumped this year? Somebody did. You got dumped. Yeah, I know. We talked about that for days. And it hurt, didn't it? It still hurts.
Drop on the deer! It's gutsy. I don't know if he's going to do it.
You know, I don't know the lyrics to that song anymore, but if you'd like to sing it, I'll take a stab. Man, I never, you know, I've had some breaks. I've had some good breaks and some bad breaks. And honest to goodness, in all the ways that a person can be blessed, I've got it in spades. But about 2 months ago, this guy from the, because I'm going to jinx it by talking about it, and since I'm perpetually shooting myself in the foot anyway, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. This guy that does marketing for Major League Baseball, honest to goodness, wanted me to re-record a song I wrote a couple of years back called "You Give It All Your Heart." And it's kind of interesting because I wanted to make it sound, because I figured, okay, it's going to be like potentially at all ballparks, right? So I thought, okay, it's got to sound like a Chevy truck commercial. And I'm not usually hoarding myself out for that sort of stuff, but now I think at 50 years old, I'm ready to do it. Because college is more, the nickels and dimes, ladies and gentlemen. Show of hands, how many people have got kids in college or out of college? Yeah, it's just bigger. Well, college kids, how many college kids are paying for the college? There you go. Study harder, you'll end up just like me. It ain't so bad. This song is all friendly fire. Swing yourself through the cabin door, honey, and up on this brass bed. This is the moment we were waiting for, she's dead. Yeah, winter's blues, they are all overdue, putting their worries in blue. It was all push and pull, but with a young couple, just about to say, 'cause her love, like daisy vein, it crumbled with a kiss. I was getting lucky, all they lived to tell about. Want to earn $8 for every dollar spent. An independent study at the University of Missouri at St. Louis showed an 800% to 1,400% net return on investment over the cost of the Johnny. When Johnny is placed within 100 feet of each group of 7 workers. 7 workers. You can plot one down just about anywhere. These studies were taken at 4 different types of construction sites. Now that's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, you can get yourself a vendor's license and set up in any Walmart in this country and be in the green. I can't believe it. I don't know why I even play music for a living anymore. With opportunities like this. Anybody's interested, see me after the show. I might need a little seed money. Those things look like they're not that high tech, but I reckon they're about $1,000 each. Just for one Johnny. I believe in sharing all good things, and I've been looking at this thing for a couple of days now, and it also shows that crap sells. I got a download record that I play some stuff off of called Hit and Run that's available. It's only $10, and if you don't have a lot of money, we take checks, and if you just want to take the CD and write me a check later, that's fine. I trust you. If you want some music, it's over there. A lot of songs on the record about gruel and poverty and lying and cheating and stealing, cocaine abuse and Lucifer and stuff like that. No, I mean that's kind of the record. It's not really. I recorded it in a day. Different band. We're not playing Drunk on the Tears. I know. By this time there should be some sort of Vigilantes of Love. Like a cover band or something. We were over in England a few years ago, and there's a Bon Jovi cover band called By Jovi. True story. British people are born with an extra, they're born with a clever gene. They get an extra gene and we don't get it. This is a song that came about. I was working in a psychiatric facility for a couple of years, and this guy came into the hospital suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome, and he gave me this song more or less, but it was the song he had to live first, and he was in Vietnam, and this song goes out because we're near July 4th. It's a song for anybody and everybody that's served either in the front lines or behind the scenes, and everything from war efforts to relief efforts. And this guy was in Vietnam, and he said he was a sweeper. I asked him what he did. He said he was a sweeper. And I thought maybe that was being like a janitor on the base, but no, here's what he did. You know, you never could tell North Vietnamese from South Vietnamese, right? And so this guy's job, they would fly the cargo planes in on the DMZs, on the demilitarized zones, and these were hotly contested areas in the war. You might change hands, you know, on this little piece of jungle strip every, 30 minutes or so. So you had to get the plane down, you had to get the cargo off. Early days of the war, women and children would sometimes approach the planes with the kind of conical woven hats that are the hats of, and they'd be filled up with rice or vegetables. And initially our guys thought they were peace offerings. But a lot of times they weren't peace offerings. Underneath the rice or the vegetables sometimes would be plastic explosives. So the women and kids would try to get close enough to the plane to throw this stuff into the planes and blow it up, and then ruin the supply trail to the troops in the front line. And this guy's job was, because he was a good marksman, they taught this guy enough language to basically tell them to back off the airstrip, and if they didn't, he would have to shoot them. And that was his job in Nam. This song came about. It's on the new record. It's called Friendly Fire. Kind of told in the first person of a guy that's melting down. It goes like this. I'm coming in for a few days, my friend. Yeah, more than likely I will be alone. Yeah, I asked if she'd like to go. You know how she loves Chicago, but she just said no. Whatever she wants, whatever she might need, 'cause I got no more fight in me. Well, I must confess my own helplessness. Things got pretty weird inside. Right after the war, it got kind of quiet for a long, long spell. Well, they say war is hell. It ain't nothing like this. She just slams the door when I try to hold her. Well, I got held on for dear life 3 nights at sea. Well, I got no more fight in me. Well, I'm mad dog bombardier. I was mad dog all the time. Could drop that payload on a Roosevelt dime. But where we are, there's no more North Star, and it's all dark and uncharted under our sad skies. Kid, the flak was so thick you could get out and walk on it. And that's what I did, right back to that little bride-to-be. I got no more fight in me. She says I've changed. Don't people change all the time? Stan, it's been 25 years or more since I had a good cry. Whatever she wants, whatever but me, well, I got no more fight. Whatever she wants, whatever she might need, well, I got no more fight. Thanks again to the folks behind the scenes that have been making this big festival run and run on time. And thank goodness and thank the Lord for great weather out here. You know, it's been amazing. I've been here about 10 times over the last 13 years or so, and this has been just the finest weather that I remember.